Two football teams, both alike in dignity, in fair Bristol where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge to break new immunity, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From fair to fatal loins of these two teams, a group of star-studded players take their football very seriously, who misadventured piteous overthrows do with a win to bury their rivals' glory.
The fearful passage of their goal-bound glory and the continuance of their fans' rage, which but their children's excitement naught could remove. It's now an hour's wait until we reach the football stage, the which, if you have patient ears attend, what tears shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. Bristol City Football Club was formed in 1894 and was known then as Bristol Southend Football Club. The club was renamed in 1897 and became a limited company. The decision was then made to employ a manager who was called Sam Hollis. His first assignment as Bristol City manager was to assemble a squad of players to play in the Southern League and was given a transfer fund of just £40. Bristol City played their games at St John Lane and in 1900 merged with Bedminster FC, who played at Ashton Gate. Ashton Gate now has a capacity of 21,000 seats. Bristol City Football Club, now in the Championship, narrowly missed out on playing in the Premiership by losing in the playoff final 1-0 to Hull City at Wembley. There have been some very influential players at Bristol City, none more than John Attio. He has the all-time league appearance record with 645 appearances, and he is the all-time leading goal scorer with 351 goals between 1951 and 1966. This prompted Bristol City to award John Attio for his achievements by naming a stand after him in 1994. This monumental picture is of the very first derby between Bristol City and Bristol Rovers, with each team exchanging a club symbol to symbolise the first game between the clubs.
Bristol Rovers was formed as the Black Arabs in September 1883, following a meeting of 5 young men in a restaurant on Stapleton Road in the Eastfield district of the city. The club became known as the Eastfield Rovers in 1884 and 1885. Rovers joined the Western League in 1892 and moved to the ground at Eastfield in 1897. Later that season, they were known as Bristol Rovers. In 1980, the South Stand at Eastfield Stadium caught fire, and with mountain depths, Rovers moved and shared a ground with Bath City. They moved back to the city in '96 and merged with Bristol Rugby Club. Rovers now have a club they can call their own. The Memorial Stadium has a capacity of just under 12,000, with around 3,000 which is seating, meaning the other 9,000 are terraces. Rovers have won the Old Division 3 and the League 2 playoff final in 2006 and 2007 season. Jeff Bradford is the all-time leading goal scorer with 242 goals, and Stuart Taylor has the most league appearances with 546.
We went to Bristol City to speak with Dave Lloyd, the PA announcer and media consultant, about the rivalry with Rovers and the club in general.
Right, if you want to just come up here.
My name's David Lloyd. My role in the club is, I've got several roles actually. I'm in charge of match day presentation, so everything you see that takes place at Ashton Gate that isn't on the football pitch, I'm in charge of on a match day. So that's the music, half-time competitions, things like that. I'm also the fans liaison officer as well, so it's my job to actually deal with supporters, you know, talk to fans, deal with their inquiries, do interviews for kids who are at school running a media project where they're making a documentary, that sort of thing. I've been here since July 2007, but I've actually been a fan since 1990. I absolutely love it. I mean, can you imagine what it would be like for you working at the football club you support, getting to meet the players every day? I mean, we were just out in the corridor, weren't we? And Gary Johnson went past, and you went, "Oh, it's Gary Johnson." Well, I still have that. You know, every day I sort of meet these players. The players come in, and I have a chat to them. I was okay at football when I was a kid. You know, I used to play, but I was actually not really that good. And every boy wants to be a footballer or wants to be around football. And the boy inside me is still there. And so I still get that huge thrill every day of being associated with a football club, particularly the one that I support. It's very busy and it's very, very crazy. Yeah, there's so much going on. I come in at 11 o'clock in the morning if it's a 3 o'clock kickoff because, yeah, you're looking at me like a shot. But at 11 o'clock, because I don't only do the stuff on the pitch, I also do hosting in the hospitality areas as well. And this is one of them where we're sitting now. So we have people coming in and they'll come in for lunch and they'll come in and have a tour of the ground. And it's my job to welcome them and do all of that. And then after the game, we do a sort of man of the match presentation, which I also do. So I have to come in for that at 11 o'clock. That takes me through till about 12:30. And then I have to meet the referee before each game to talk about the arrangements that we make for when the teams come out. And they're always really nice. That's the weird thing. The refs are always really, really nice. They're charming, they're funny, most of them anyway. They've got a really good sense of humour, they're friendly, until they walk out on the pitch. And then I don't know what happens to them then, because they become like different people. It all builds up to the kickoff, which we think about quite carefully. You know, it's not just a question of we'll just stick some music on and see what happens. You know, we try and build the music so we can like build a bit of an atmosphere in the ground, so that by the time the game kicks off, then everything's really, really rocking. But what hasn't helped that this year is this new thing. You may have noticed. You come to Ashton Gate, don't you? You know, if you remember last year, teams used to run out. We'd have fireworks and lot. And now we have to do this slow walkout where the teams have to line up and shake hands with each other. And that's fine. It's part of the respect campaign to try and bring respect back into football. I think that's actually really, really good. But the problem is, what it does is kills the atmosphere. Because instead of everybody running out and going, whoa, a game of football, it's the sort of the slow walkout and the handshakes. But I actually fell out of love with football, you know, in the 1980s. The whole climate around football was really bad then. There were lots of problems with violence at games. The game itself wasn't actually very attractive. It became very dour and very negative, very boring. And I stopped going to football pretty much for 10 years. And then when I moved to Bristol, having whizzed around the country a lot, I was looking to put down some roots, you know, and I had a really good friend who was a big Bristol City fan. And he said, oh, come down the gate with me. And I did, and I can remember the first game I came to, it was in 1990, I think 91. It was a night game, and as I walked up the steps into the Dolman stand, you know that thing when you walk out and the lights are on and the stadium's full. It was against Rovers as well, so there was a hell of an atmosphere in the ground, you know. And I thought, oh, I've missed this. I've really, really missed this. And so from then on, I just used to come along with my mate and watch City, and then after like 2 or 3 years, I found myself becoming like a City fan. You know, and then I got myself a season ticket and I've never looked back. Well, I knew Steve Lansdowne because I'd done some work for the club anyway. I was on Brian Tinnion's testimonial committee, and as a supporter I'd organised a sort of fans tribute night for Brian. So I'd done a lot of stuff for the club, and so I was sort of known a bit here. I was working then, as I still do, as a writer for television, but I was getting a little bit fed up with it. You know, I wanted a new challenge. I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I chatted to Steve about the possibility of coming to work here. And between us, we came up with a job which we felt perhaps wasn't, you know, quite being done at the moment. And that was more the fans liaison aspect, because I don't think anyone was doing that before I was here. And I felt particularly that was something that the club could perhaps do a little bit better than they were doing before. So that was sort of my idea, but then he was also looking for somebody to take over the microphone on match days. And so we sort of, between us, invented a new job, which was a mixture of old jobs and some new stuff added in.